Sometimes when you ask for public information, the fight to actually get it tells a way bigger story than the records themselves. It becomes a story about transparency, accountability, and, well, the games that get played behind closed doors. And we are about to dive deep into one of those stories.
So let's jump right into the middle of the action. This email you're looking at, this isn't just some polite follow-up. This is a citizen formally challenging the city, calling their response to a public records request deficient and legally flawed. This is the moment a simple request for information turns into a real battle for the truth.
And this email really sets up the central question for our entire explainer. What exactly was the city trying to hide about one of its own high-ranking officials? And maybe more importantly, why were they trying so darn hard to hide it?
Okay, so to understand why the city was denying these records, we have to rewind a bit. Before all the emails and the legal threats, there was a specific event that kicked this whole thing off. It all starts right here with this sheriff's office report from March of 2023. And look at the incident listed right there, embezzlement. This single report is the spark that lit the entire fire. So here's the gist of it. An allegation pops up that a high-ranking city official and her husband were involved with around $4,500 that went missing from a youth baseball team. But after an investigation, the sheriff's office basically says, no crime here. They call it a civil matter, a private dispute, and they close the case. Officially, that was the end of it.
But just because the case was closed didn't mean the questions went away. A citizen wanted to know how the city handled this situation internally with its employee. So they filed a public records request, an IPRA as it's called. They just wanted to see the paper trail. And that's when the real games began.
This table, it perfectly shows the shell game they were playing. The person asked for performance reviews, they got nothing. They asked for the city's policy on probation for a long-term employee, they got the policy for brand new hires. See what they're doing? It's a classic move, give them something, anything, to avoid giving them what was actually asked for. The crucial records? They were just gone. So the city's first line of defense was this legal argument. They said because the official's probation was talked about in a private, closed session, all the records were secret. But, well, the law's pretty clear. Just because you discuss something in private doesn't magically make the public paperwork disappear. It was a really weak excuse, and the citizen called him on it right away. The city's answers were so evasive, so incomplete, that the citizen had to ask the simplest question you could possibly imagine. Hey, do these records even exist? Because if they don't, just say so. The fact that the city couldn't or wouldn't give a straight answer to that question, well, that tells you pretty much everything. Now, this very careful, very evasive handling of one high-ranking official gets even more interesting when you compare it to how the city treated other employees who were facing allegations around the same time. It really starts to look like there was a completely different set of rules. For example, when several Eunice police officers faced allegations, the city's reaction was fast. It was public and it was decisive. It was literally front-page news. There was no hiding what was going on there. And right here, this is the tale of two standards in black and white. For the police officers, the process was by the book: administrative leave, an internal investigation, and a public paper trail to prove it. For the high-ranking official, nothing. Not a single document was produced to show any similar process was followed. It really makes you wonder, why the different treatment? So just as the official request for documents was hitting a total brick wall of denials and non-answers, the story took a really bizarre and very public turn online. And then this happens. On a public Facebook page, a citizen asks about the missing money, and an elected city official, the mayor pro tem no less, decides to jump right into the comments and give an answer. So get this. While the city's official legal response is basically no records, no comment, another city official is on Facebook seemingly confirming the whole story. The gap between the official stonewalling and this public comment is it's staggering. This entire saga, the weird denials, the double standards, the bizarre social media comments, it all comes together in one final, deeply ironic detail that you just can't make up. So who was overseeing this whole process? The person ultimately responsible for the city's responses, or, their lack of responses, was the city manager, Shannon Cummins. And here it is, the final, unbelievable twist. This quote, "It was in the city manager's email signature attached to every single denial, every deflection. Integrity is doing the right thing even when no one is watching, which kind of leaves us with one last thought. What does it mean when the public is trying to watch, and this is the response they get?